Learning Targets Part 2. Um, we talked in our last video very quickly about how our goals, our content goals specifically, are the foundation of our house, and we are working up towards our higher level thinking. And we're going to do that using Blooms because it gives us a step-by-step process for making sure that we're achieving our goals, making sure that we are working at more than one level, and that we are designing and creating something awesome and designing and creating something that is powerful for the world because you guys are so capable of doing that. So let's look at your project design. And I stole Levi's to use as an example here because he's doing a really awesome job with that. So let's look at a few things with Levi. Levi went through a lot of feedback sessions and worked really hard on refining his snapshot goals. And he has moved those over to his project design. So again, these are the foundation and the roof of his house. These are the big picture, big, huge things that he's working on. They're not supposed to be easy. They're supposed to require a lot of work because they're end of the project kind of things. We should be able to look back on all of these and use evidence from your project to show that you have done all of these things. They should take time, they should take energy, and they should most importantly be connected to things that Levi wants to work on, wants to learn, and needs to work on. So these are awesome goals. And what we're going to do is we're going to take those goals next and we're going to put them into Blooms. Remember, we're putting them into Blooms because it gives us the steps that we need to achieve these. These are really big. They can be really scary. They can be really daunting. They're challenging. They're overwhelming. And they're supposed to be because you guys are so smart. But we're going to break them down into small steps, small actions that we're going to take so that we can achieve them. And we do that through Blooms because Blooms is an order of thinking. It is a ladder that lets us get there. And so we're going to start with taking our world-class outcome goal because that is our highest level goal that we have. It doesn't mean that Levi is not going to work above create just because his goal is in evaluate, but that's where we're going to start. So we're going to take our goals from our snapshots, from our goal section, and take them one by one and put them in Blooms. So let's start with our world-class outcome. So Levi has an evaluate outcome, and it goes in the evaluate section. These are all verbs. They are all actions. They tell us what you're going to do. They give us some insight into your project. They allow us to see what you're learning and allow you to know what evidence you need to have for that learning. They are actions. They are things that you're going to do, things that you're going to show. Okay? So we look at our world-class outcome. And we think about, oh man, evaluate how interactions impact the development of sustainability on an earthquake-prone community. That sounds like a pretty big job. So what are some basic things that I can do to start building my steps up towards achieving this goal? So I'm going to come down here and we're going to start with the remembering level. And we'll look a little bit at understand too. But again, these are things, basic facts that I can collect, information that I may not have, and I'm going to do something cooler with that information later now, but I am just trying to understand what maybe I don't know. That way I can effectively create a solution or design something that's going to help other people or learn something that I didn't know, period. So if you go to the blueprint page, this is going to be your best friend, always, forever. You go under topics and you hit Blooms. Your Blooms verbs are right here. You know our friends, the owls. They are awesome. We love them. They are our best friends. So these are all of the verbs, all of the actions that we can start breaking down our bigger goals with. In the case of Levi, we're looking at our big world-class outcome. This is super awesome. It sounds cool, but I have no idea how to get there yet. So I'm going to break it simple. I'm going to break it down. And I'm going to start at the lower level of my Blooms. So when I'm thinking about evaluating the impact or interactions that impact the sustainability of an earthquake-prone community, I want to look at this and I want to think, well, I've got interactions, I've got development, sustainability, I've got earthquakes. Those are all my key words, right? We practice that in seminars. So what do I need to remember about those words? What are some basic facts that I need to list or identify or describe or write? These are things that allow me to get all of the basic information that I don't have so that I can move forward with that. So if we look at Levi's, blow it up here a little bit, he knows he needs to write where earthquakes happen. That connects to this because he's talking about earthquake-prone communities. He's going to look to see what he can do to make those people more safe. And so we obviously have to know where those communities are. So he's going to look at where those happen. He's going to draw a map where the biggest earthquakes have happened. He's going to define development. That might not be a word that he owns. He doesn't use it frequently in his writing or his speaking. So now is a really good time in this remembering stage to understand those words that we might not know. He's going to describe what causes an earthquake. He's going to define sustainability, again, a word that he doesn't frequently use. He's going to identify what makes something sustainable and identify examples of sustainability. All of these start with verbs from the remembering stage of Bloom's, because these are actions. These are things that you're going to do. Remember that for later on, okay? And as he moves up Bloom's, it's going to get a little bit more complicated. It's going to require a little bit more research. It's going to slowly start to require him to possibly interview people to make something, to understand it. But for right now, we're just gathering that information. So he's working on building basic, actionable steps towards reaching his higher level goals up here, okay? When he has these goals written, he's going to take them, he's just going to copy them because these are going to become his learning targets, his day-to-day. So these are things that he can do in a day or two. He might do, especially in remembering and understanding, he might do more than one. He's going to take those, and those are going to become his daily learning targets. Those are going to become what he does that day, where he's going to link evidence and show us that he did that. But we're going to focus on that in my third and final video about writing learning targets. See you soon.